Doo-be-doo-be-doo. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Well, oh, you already knocked it over. Rude.
Yeah.
Holy fall.
What, more get a hold of these?
Sebastian. They look far too good for Sebastian.
I need to get some new tips for these headphones. They don't really stay in.
Do a little ear over the ear thing with them.
Yeah.
You just look like a hipster.
Nobody wants that.
Well, I don't know what's going on in hell, but Jeremy and Josh are late for Slack. Or
Jeremy's in the chat.
yeah.
Jeremy's in the IRC.
You got
So is
video?
Josh.
Well, what am I? Join the chat. Oh, we don't have irc.pcpro.com anymore?
Oh, we don't?
No. I don't remember why not.
About the chat. Oh, crap. Now it wants me to connect again. Let's make sure we disconnect from this one first. We don't exceed our number.
Good.
of
I was
IPs.
worried I'd finally have to update this damn thing.
No, it was just showing that you were away, but you were online, so.
Meh. Well, now it thinks I'm dropped again.
Well, you're still here.
Unfortunately.
You must suffer with me.
I could put this one. Ryan does it. I don't know how he fits.
So many laptops.
Yeah.
In such a small space. He
Yeah.
like has them going.
Well, actually, this is what's throwing it now.
Yeah,
We'll just put this one on that side and that one on that
You
side.
could probably
Can't.
route around the
It
back.
doesn't work that way.
It can.
This is USB-A.
No. I mean this laptop over here.
Oh.
And then that laptop
Yeah,
over there.
I guess I can. So I'll take this. I'll do
That's
this.
an idea. We could take a hammer to the 486s at the end of the episode.
No.
Oh. Ryan swindled those out of the
The recycling shop, wasn't
recycling
it?
shop fair and square. Here, that's as much room as I can give you, Ken.
I don't need a lot of room.
Okay.
Nice shot.
Ah. Nobody needs to see that. Can't go creating your own thumbnails, damn it. It's a shame you won't be able to use that for another 100 podcasts.
Need another. Oh yeah.
Can you turn the speakers off on my computer?
Huh?
No. It was posted a minute ago. What? No, 96 layer? Didn't someone announce that?
What? Did he really drop an article at 10:03?
Yeah, he just.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. Oh, do you want to put it in there while we're waiting for Josh to show up?
That's fine.
I think he's probably on too.
He shows as definitely away.
He's in the chat.
Oh.
Well, I'll give him a call. You are there.
Oh, God. How long were you there?
Surprise!
Seriously, about 10 minutes.
Oh, you showed up as away on our Skype status.
Come on.
Weird.
Who knows?
No, I've been on talking to people in the chat room. People are talking about me looking behind my couch for a dime to call you guys. I'm thinking, hey, I'm right here.
Well,
Don't know what your deal is. Me.
What deal is?
You.
Oh, what the...
Is that Morse code on your
No.
chest? So I know it's supposed to
a
be Star Wars,
scroll.
but
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's last week's show.
Ryan isn't here, so I had to wear a Star Wars shirt. It's abstract Star Wars. See, it's
7
it's
days.
the crawl. The text isn't important. No one actually reads that shit.
Wait a minute. Just refresh that page. Where's the...
I don't know. I don't use
Last time I watched one, it said, "His dark days in the Empire. Princess Leia has been very naughty. Luke's been looking for her."
I don't know why that was doing what it was doing. Roll, you piece of crap.
I don't like docs.google.com.
You mean... Oh.
I like drive.google.com.
Yeah, that's what I had to go
Yep.
to.
But Ryan, he
Isn't
continues
that
to use
great? We're on
docs.
486.
Hey,
I don't get it.
true.
486. Intel would be so proud.
Now I understand why Alex was doing what he was doing.
I know it's a
Why is
rare
that?
occasion.
No.
Oh.
Hence the
Ah.
hence the props.
You always gotta have props.
Do we have small, old processors?
Hey, where's the little
We
boat?
do.
Where's the-
Where is the boat?
Where's the little boat, Alex?
Well, these aren't Coffee Lake processors, so we
I
can't.
know, but I
These aren't susceptible to Spectre.
Yeah.
Great. Now you got me wondering, where is the?
I don't know.
I spent all that time on there.
Cleaning
boat-
lady probably
goes
threw it
away.
away.
I thought the cleaning lady.
It's funny because we don't have one.
Oh, easy. Time to clean the room. Okay, let's see here. All right.
SK Hynix sounds just like a vaguely sexual name.
Kynex. Why did this just turn off?
I don't know why I did it.
Oh.
Plug it in.
No.
The corner of the one laptop was hitting the power button on the side of the other laptop.
Just perfectly.
Well done.
I was like, why? The battery's full. Why did it just turn off? It's a brand new laptop. What the heck?
So what was the last processor Intel made that was not susceptible to Spectre meltdown? Was that the 586?
Actually-
Pro?
Actually, aren't those?
Pentium.
Yeah.
That would be Pentium.
Not
yeah,
the Pentium Pro.
Pentium Pro had speculative and all out of order, and
Yeah, 486 didn't though, right? It didn't have pipelines.
Right,
it was inline.
But then you had the 586 non-Penny.
That was not
non-Pro.
Intel.
Nope.
That was Pentium.
Oh, so they switched the Pentium for their. Okay.
I think Pentium it was out of order. It was their first out of order, but it didn't have speculative. But Pentium Pro had all kinds of bells and whistles. Pentium 2 beyond that.
Let me get my pick in here before I have to switch this off.
Before I steal it.
I don't think you're
Wait
gonna.
for him to type and copy and paste, Josh.
I don't think you're gonna steal this one because it's
Because it's stupid.
You haven't done it yet.
car related.
Yeah, you haven't done that yet. How
No,
can
but
you
this
recommend
is,
it?
But this is
Is
awesome.
it a power button protector so you can't bash a second laptop against the first one?
Are they?
Recut.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but if you haven't used it
Okay.
yet,
It's a standard, like, you just need to find a place that has the templates. Templates come from the same people that make their wrap.
all right, we ready to do this thing?
Maybe.
Wow, I love the cheers of encouragement here.
Cheers mixed with moose. Not booze.
Moose.
I got booze.
We all got
Not
booze.
booze.
We got booze.
All right, let's open some tabs here.
Ah, DDR memory is still so expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I need to boot memtest on the computer in the office because I'm pretty sure we had at least one DIMM die on us.
Yeah.
When's the last time you had memory die? I don't think I've ever actually had a DIMM go bad.
I've had.
Yeah,
plenty
I've
of
had-
them.
God,
I,
yeah.
had one, I had one go bad recently. Man.
I've never had one like refuse to boot, but I have had one where if you had a stick in there, it would do weird stuff. After
Oh,
a
that's
kernel-
what we had.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It would get through it would make it through a kernel compile like 4 out of 5 times, and then it would just conk out.
This one just
F-
wouldn't,
fresh Windows install wouldn't
wouldn't
finish
unzip.
unzipping a file.
Wow.
So
I
it
wonder
made
if
it
they're
all
going
the
to
way
make
through.
any more of the Titan XP graphics cards for the Galactic Empire because they're all now sold out.
I don't think
Again.
so.
Yeah,
You
that
think
was
it's
just-
done?
Yeah, it was limited run, wasn't it?
Think about that.
I'm glad that I got one, even though it was for work.
I'm amazed that it made it all the way
Yeah,
through the
for
Windows
work.
install without like blue screening or
Yeah.
like how is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It worked that well, but then it wouldn't unzip.
I saw a rumor today, Josh, that they've stopped production of GP 102.
Which one's that?
That's the Titan. That's the big one, I believe. Right?
Oh, okay. So,
So-
yeah, that's right. Because the bigger number, the smaller.
Yeah, for
They
some reason.
die.
Yeah.
The more
It
cut
wouldn't,
down.
Wouldn't shock me because
Yeah.
they, if they got HBM memory locked down.
The rumor was that Ampere production was starting in late February.
Hmm.
That we would see it April 12th.
That's an awfully
That's
accurate
not
date.
long away.
Yeah, I don't know. Complete conjecture from what I saw. No real evidence. Just, hey, I heard from a guy.
Guy told me.
Yeah. But it was posted on some website, so you know it's legitimate.
It was somewhere on the internet.
Therefore, it must be true.
Yeah.
Hey, I've almost got all the links open. Ken's. We're missing Josh,
What?
your pick of the week.
I'm working on it.
I got that way.
Procrastination.
Of course, then there's Alex with the
Hey.
freaking 25 picks of the week.
We got a few minutes before we have to talk about that.
I understand, but I'm trying to open up the.
Oh, you're opening up the picks of the week tabs before the rest of the show?
No,
Loser.
That's
I'm-
it.
I
I'm
already-
changing
I'm
my
gonna
pick.
change mine.
I already opened the rest. Well, go ahead and change it, but that's not. I'm showing on the screen what's on the thing now. Dang it.
Your picks are now locked in.
Yeah, except for Josh's.
I'm just gonna kick your ass.
I mean, start driving, buddy.
Why am I driving?
Well-
Because you haven't picked anything, obviously.
Jump on an airplane.
Fine.
Wait, when the hell did this start?
No, it's fine.
happening?
You can add it in later. Whatever.
We have I don't recall these thumbnails being in the bottom corner before.
Thumbnails being in the bottom
yeah.
corner.
That's a
Yeah.
little bit further over than normal.
It's the same one we've used.
Scooch.
Did they get bigger?
Maybe.
I don't know if
Depends
the
on how much you
timer is
rub it.
blocking it on our view.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to shrink them.
Oh, that
Well,
might be.
you don't have a lower third up, is why you don't
No,
see
I
it.
think that was out a couple weeks ago.
Ah, that'll do it.
Yeah, but we went through it before and it wasn't there.
It's
No,
Microsoft.
that-
they
that's-
change
it's-
everything
it's
every
always,
week.
It's always in the corner.
There's
You can't
always
get
been
rid
the
of
thing
it.
in the corner.
Yeah. Oh well. Whatever. I mean, I have the one with the lower thirds on it. Do we want to switch back to it real quick before we go, or
I literally can't see the video because the timer
Yeah, the
is
timer is over.
Literally,
literally.
not figuratively.
I don't.
I
guess
literally
that's-
can't see my
Oh.
figure.
No, that's
Yeah.
annoying.
yeah, it's annoying.
It's in the shot just a little bit.
Oh,
You can't resize that. Grab
oh, I'm sure I can.
the inner corner of that, and then
Grab Josh's inner
grab
corner.
Josh's inner corner.
Give it a
Just-
nice float.
Wow,
Awesome.
that's uncomfortable.
Just drag his nose or the other appendage that you grabbed him by. Just drag it around the screen.
Whoa.
Wait, what the hell? Why is this not taking?
Are you not able to drag the?
No, I am, but it's just not reproducing.
You want Josh to
I know.
reproduce?
Josh had that problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm using the wrong one. That's why.
Are you dragging
That's
the?
the reason I adopt.
So that's as small as that gets. Is
Narrow
that what
urethra.
you're saying? Oh, there we go. Just scoot him over.
Ah,
I've been watching a lot of King of the Hill lately, so
why?
it's
That boy.
it's a pretty good show. And you know,
Bobby?
was bored.
Apparently.
Fair enough.
Underappreciated.
All right.
Yeah,
Are
we're a little bit offset, but we're okay with that.
we already ready already?
Yep.
Why am I upset?
I mean, if you wanted to offset them the other way, you can drag the return window to the other corner, and then.
No, it's fine.
I'm
It's
surprised it
fine.
didn't let you resize that smaller.
It's
'cause
fine.
Usually it lets you get it pretty small.
Hey, it only gets so small.
I'll tell you
Ooh,
what.
I had an NEC V20.
Unless it's on Josh's view, then it could get like half the size.
And his box shrunk 2 sizes that day.
Wow, that'd be tight.
Mm.
Oh,
All
ready,
right.
ready to kick this pig? Yep. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Good. 3, 2. Hey, everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode number 486, being recorded February 7th, 2018. I'm Alan Mamontano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
The no-speaking gargoyle.
And I'm Ken Addison. Now,
I had a
before
really
we
bad
start,
itch.
I've been thinking about this for a while.
Uh-huh.
So on the table here, we have 3 486 processors.
Yep,
we have an Intel, we have a TI, and we have a Cyrix.
Uh-huh.
Josh,
You don't have an AMD. What up with that?
Which one would you be? Which one do you personally identify with? The Cyrix? I think it's probably the Cyrix.
No, the TI DX266.
I didn't even know there was a TI.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they just licensed it directly from Intel.
Need multiple vendors.
I mean, I get it. It makes sense.
Not anymore. But.
I don't get it anymore. Yeah. And then the one in the middle.
Thanks, Alexa.
Oh, Jesus. And then the one in the middle, I have a wonderful view of many bent pins in the back. So apparently Sebastian tried to install that into the
It looks like, what's that? The
what?
The TI is the less bent.
Yeah. People
So-
were nicer to the TI one, probably
Yeah.
just because it got used less or something. I don't know. I'm just reaching. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, you fine folks. We record this thing every Wednesday night. It usually shows up on the internet Thursday sometime, I guess, right? Do we even use the email anymore?
Depends. For official use or
I don't know. There's an email address, podcast@pcper.com.
send a bunch of emails.
I have
to it.
no idea.
I don't think it's been checked in years.
Yeah, I don't know. We used to have a voicemail that people were calling about papers being delivered to their house, like angry old ladies and stuff. Remember that? That was
Lack
amazing.
thereof, actually.
Yeah. I didn't
was.
get my papers. Yeah. So we stopped doing that. Not really sure the purpose of the email anymore because we usually just answer stuff off of comments, off of various things. Speaking of comments, pcpro.com/podcast is where you'll see our post about this podcast. There'll be comments under there, of course, that we may or may not read. Jim usually combs through them looking for mailbag questions, but those are usually in the, mailbag posts as opposed to the podcast posts. Go figure.
I see.
Twitter.com/Ryan Shrout if you want to yell at the boss who is not here right now. He is on location.
Somewhere.
In Hotel
Somewhere?
California.
Yeah.
Such a lovely
Snacking.
place.
Apparently, they don't have very good Wi-Fi.
Yeah. His connection was not satisfactory enough. Not high enough quality for you fine folks watching our podcast, so we told the boss to shove it. Anyway, join our spam list. Where is the link for the spam list? There we go.
You should know it by now.
Sorry, I had to find the right tab. We have a mailing list for whenever we do live events, including this podcast. Yeah.
No.
Josh doesn't know about it, and he's saying no because
PC
we don't let him.
subscribe.
Yeah, we don't let him access this, so you won't get any JoshTech.com spam or anything like that.
That's the best kind of spam. I
no.
have pictures.
Oh,
Really nice pictures.
yeah. The pictures are on JoshTech.com still, I think.
I think that might be a video.
Oh, it's a video now? Wow. It's been upgraded.
Get updates every once in a while.
Anyway, pcpro.com/subscribe. You give us your name, your email address, and it's just a simple mailing list thing to let you guys know before we go to record a thing or stream a thing or whatnot. Things that might be interesting to watch. Next up, patreon.com/pcper is where you can help contribute to enable us to do other extra content on top of what we're already trying to get out the door in the first place, which is already tricky, depending. But one of the recent additions was the mailbag. Actually, it's not so recent anymore. It's been a few months now, right? Well, like episode, what, 20-something?
25, I believe.
Episode 25.
It's like half a year.
It says 29.
Man, that's longer than...
Like almost
really?
a month of podcasts or mailbags.
Yeah, speaking of mailbag, here's the February 2nd edition of the mailbag where Ryan answered a bunch of reader questions.
Things, stuff.
Things, stuff, and stuff. Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
I get to do the next one.
Oh God.
You get to
It's
do...
going to be so exciting.
Oh, the next mailbag. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. There was some feedback. There was some feedback in the comments on the last YouTube video. It was like, hey, why don't we see more of the other guys? Why is it always Ryan and Alan? And to which I first said, but I've only done like 2 of them. I'd only done like 2. Josh, you've done a couple, right? Did Sebastian do
2
one
or
yet?
3.
I don't remember.
No, Sebastian hasn't
2.
done
He
one.
hasn't done one yet. We need Sebastian to do one live from the basement. Motherboard or case boxes.
Cases.
YouTube isn't ready for this by itself.
No.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll try to spread it around some more. They wanted they were even asking for a mailbag from Jeremy.
Good Lord,
I
no.
don't understand.
What the hell's wrong with you people?
I mean, you're just gonna talk about the news
All it'd
stuff?
be is just whiskey and smoking.
Yeah, basically.
And we'd probably like it.
Yeah, I would watch that.
I mean,
Oh, so just leave the webcam on as carry on my normal day.
yeah, just like wear a GoPro on your head and just run around Canada and just
He could bitch about Office 358.
yeah. That's
I would
love
in
to
there.
see a first person view of
Oh
Jeremy's.
no! Right now, I'd even have my own question, which is why in the hell would you redo an office's phone system 19 days before you move the office?
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't understand.
That's impressive.
So that's my mailbag question to someone.
Hey, Jeremy, have you gone out to see Connect the Crow yet?
No, not yet.
Why
I
not?
don't know. Well, yeah.
Okay.
It's just fine, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into
More
the
excited
week.
by the dead squirrel in Toronto.
Let's get into the week of the review. And it's Ken.
Oh no.
It's all Ken.
Oh no.
With like one of the like most well received based on comments articles I think I've seen on the site.
I don't get the hate.
There's like a
Alan.
dozen comments like, thank you for this review. It's like, wow. That's so nice.
Maybe you should learn from me, Alan.
I guess.
Now I'm gonna get all of the vitriol in the world. So
Probably.
thanks.
Probably.
Either that or all those comments are you anonymously.
he has a farm of anonymous Kens.
What do you think I do with all those Raspberry Pis?
That's what they're all doing. Oh, figured out your evil plan to take over the review site.
Exactly.
All right, so what do you got?
So,
Uh-huh.
Ryzen APUs.
Those are a thing.
Yes, they are.
They're new.
It's a new thing. Yes.
These aren't entirely new. They launched what was it, November of last year? I think the first product with the Ryzen 5 2500U launched. For those who don't know, this is AMD's attempt at a ultra low wattage processor in line with sort of the U series from Intel. Weird that they both share a U in the naming scheme. Must be a coincidence.
Oh my goodness.
So sort of the ultrabook form factor. However, this has a twist in that it has AMD's Vega graphics integrated.
Okay.
So what should be significantly higher performance graphics than you get on an Intel ultrabook, which has UHD graphics 620. They rebranded it from HD graphics to UHD graphics, and I don't think they changed a damn thing.
The only thing I think might change on that, which I think I figured out the other day, is I think it can do 4K 60 instead of 4K 30 out of its HDMI port.
I would have thought it could have, maybe not HDMI, maybe they had HDMI 2.0 support, but you could always, I think you could do DisplayPort 4K 60.
I guess.
Regardless.
Well, like, yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway.
so
So it's not full Vega, it's like mobile
well,
Vega,
they're quote unquote real Vega stream processors. They're just they don't have HBM or anything like the Kaby Lake G stuff from Intel. This is using the system memory. So in this case, 8 gigabytes of DDR4 2400 in a dual channel configuration, which is very important. As
Yes.
we've seen with APUs in the past, if you ship them with single channel memory configurations, the performance really suffers.
Yep.
So this is sort of the first machine that came out, the HP Envy X360. It's a well-built machine. It's sub $1,000. Well, maybe not. It's right around
It's a little over.
1,000, I think. The price fluctuates a little bit, and that price that you see in an article is with
That's the retail.
one. Well, that's the pricing for the one with the 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe SSD.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
So
it
it can be
starts at
had-
750 with a hard drive. You can
Okay.
you can pop your own drive in there, no problem.
Sure.
But it's on par with the quality that we've seen from the HP Intel-based ultrabooks, essentially.
Sure.
And that's about all I'm going to say about the machine. We're not taking a look at the machine. We're trying to compare CPU and GPU performance to the rest of the market.
Uh-huh.
Overall, it's sort of a mixed bag. So you see here in Cinebench and single thread, it keeps in pace with the Intel stuff. We mostly compared it to the main comparison point is the i5 8250U, which is a true quad-core hyper-threaded. I don't know if the i5 is hyper-threaded or not. A true quad-core processor.
Yeah.
That Intel has released recently, the 8th gen parts. You can see in single-threaded, it actually keeps in line pretty well. We've always seen decent performance with Ryzen and Cinebench. Then if you go to the multi-threaded test, it wins,
Yeah.
which we've
That's
also
good.
seen with Ryzen in the past. So no surprises there.
Right.
However, if you keep looking at other tests, like X264 encoding on the first pass, it's losing dramatically. It's in line with the performance of the i5 7200U, which is the dual-core last generation Intel part,
Okay. Okay.
which is less than ideal.
Second pass. a
However,
little bit
second
better.
pass, which is the more multi-threaded,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it's winning by a little bit. You can kind of sort of
Yeah, you can see a trend
Yeah,
here.
a trend
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Single core stuff falls behind. Multi-core stuff gets ahead.
Yeah.
Basically.
For the most part. There are some oddities. Now, I think if you go down to the Geekbench multi-thread, I don't know what happened here.
Huh.
For some reason, multi-thread performance in Geekbench just doesn't seem to scale correctly on this part.
I think maybe it was like clocking down or something, maybe? Like
It's
power,
it's
maybe?
not a very long benchmark, though.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Geekbench sucks.
Well,
Seriously, I mean, it's like Oh yeah, this Apple half a watt, 1.5 watt CPU is at the Skylake type IPC performance at its no.
Blender, it did decent.
Yeah, so Blender in line with the 8th gen Intel parts.
Yeah.
So overall, it wins. It wins in some, it loses in some. It's sort of the current tale of the Ryzen desktop processors versus the Intel processors in CPU performance.
Okay.
Now, if we take a look at gaming, which is absolutely sort of the bread and butter for this part,
right?
We compared it to the integrated graphics on the i5, as well as the i5 paired with an NVIDIA MX150, which is their lowest end discrete GPU.
Okay.
And the Ryzen part falls in the middle of the pack. So we see the discrete GPU walk all over everything, as you might expect.
Except in Doom.
Yeah, what's with the Doom result?
It wouldn't run.
Interesting.
And we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So, but if you take out the discrete GPU as an option from this, the performance from the EPU is pretty awesome. I mean, we could get, if you tune your settings, you can get 60 FPS on a lot of less demanding titles. Here we went for kind of higher settings where we could, just to sort of, we didn't want the discrete GPU to like have frame rates in the hundreds. So we sort of kind of tried to pick some settings that would show decent scaling between stuff. But I mean, like if you want to play Rocket League on your Ultrabook, do it. Rocket League was running at 1080p highest settings, I believe. Whereas that was definitely a struggle on the Intel parts. It wasn't as good of an experience running at around 30.
What was the pricing on the other laptops? Were they all in the 1300 range or?
No. The 1300 is weird because we had the 1 terabyte SSD SKU. That's the one that AMD sent. If you look at, they're all about $700-800 with more reasonable storage options, like 128, 256 gig SSD.
Okay, so they're all in the same ballpark.
Yeah, and nothing is wildly different than each other.
Okay. All right.
Here's kind of the issue.
Were you mining Bitcoin on that thing, dude?
No, I wasn't. AMD calls this a 15-watt part.
Okay.
And as we've seen with notebook CPUs, sort of that rating isn't always true because notebook vendors get to tune the processors how they want. It could run at 12. They could tune it to run at 12 in their chassis with their thermal design. They could maybe run at 17, 20, whatever.
Right.
However, this is one of the more extreme cases we've seen. Under full load while gaming or doing, we have a POV right here, which is a multi-threaded CPU benchmark. It's above 35 watts, 35 to 40 watts.
Yeah.
Which is a lot when you're sort of trying to compare yourself to 15-watt CPUs.
Right.
So I think one of the things we might look at in the future is, well, how does this compare to an Intel 35-watt part, which are the H-series SKUs?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I don't know how much this matters because if you're going to be doing heavy stuff on your laptop, you're going to be plugged in. So as long as the thermal design of the chassis can take care of it,
which it could,
yeah, which we had absolutely no problems with thermal throttling on this notebook.
Right.
Does it matter? You're probably not trying to do this stuff like game or render on battery, so does it really matter that your laptop's drawing 45 watts?
Well, I will say that if you tried to do that on battery, and it drew what it was supposed to draw, then it would last more than twice as long.
Yeah.
on the battery.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as long as you are at least looking at a review and getting the real number, then you just walk into the purchase prepared to go, okay, this actually draws like 40 watts. I don't plan on using the battery for anything but like a UPS, basically, if you're gaming or something, right?
Pretty much.
Then it's fine.
So sort of the takeaway here is that this is one specific machine. There have been 2 more that have come out recently. I think the Acer more targets a 15-watt SKU, and there's a Lenovo that's somewhere in between the middle between the 2 of them. So we have to get some more of these notebooks in, do some more testing. Notebooks are just, performance can vary so wildly between the same parts because of thermal constraints. It's insane.
That's true.
It's very difficult to make a definitive conclusion about this. One thing that that we started to mention earlier is software.
Yeah, what was the deal with
As
that?
of the time of writing this review, and I believe right now, there are no newer drivers have ever been released for this laptop since October, November.
Okay.
Or
So the problems you had during this review are still there.
like with Doom not running, it's still the state it's in. The community has figured out how to sort of side load newer drivers from the Adrenaline package in there.
God, we're back to like the NVIDIA thing from back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I want to test it. There have been some people who saying stability in some games is a little better, performance is a little better. So we're going to try to work on that, get a piece on that out, just to sort of look at what the software will do. But AMD and HP, AMD and their OEM partners need to work together on this. Is sort of the answer.
The chat's just flat out saying like HP doesn't update drivers at all.
Yeah, so
And that's a fair statement because like they're
yeah.
really not good at it.
AMD
Right.
needs to take the control away from the OEMs like NVIDIA did 5 or 6 years ago with their Project Verde drivers. Was the initiative for notebook drivers, decoupling it from the vendors, allowing you to just go to GeForce.com and download the drivers.
Yeah, because back
That's
then
worked. It's worked amazingly well. It took them probably a couple of years to get into the flow of things and actually make it work as intended, where you would absolutely just be able to go download the drivers. But
Yeah.
I feel AMD really needs to start to get on this if they're going to be competitive in sort of the notebook gaming space.
for those unaware of what Ken's talking about there was like 10 years ago or so. Is that around the time when you would?
It might be longer than that.
Yeah, maybe a little
actually.
longer. Like there was like an underground of like you could get this newest version of this INF file that you would add. You would
Yeah.
extract the NVIDIA driver, like whatever the newest NVIDIA driver was, and you would add this INF, and it was basically patch it so that it would see all of the other random, OEM
Yeah.
style hardware IDs, like hardware IDs, and it worked beautifully.
Well, the interesting thing with this and sort of the community workarounds is that like it doesn't need a specific INF. It's installing the Adrenaline package. The
Yeah.
installer won't complete because it doesn't find compatible hardware. But you just go into the folder that it extracted when you download the driver and started the install process,
Yeah.
and select that, and then select RX Vega from the list. And
Huh.
apparently it works. I tried it briefly a couple of days ago. I couldn't quite get it to work, but I don't think I was quite on the right versions of things. There was some,
Some tricks with the version numbers.
that I need to start to figure out. But that's the most disappointing part about this is the lack of software support. It's a good part. I don't think it will necessarily make them super competitive in Ultrabooks today. The Lenovo design is what you would call a thin and light. It's a 13-inch machine, like about this form factor sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the only one of those we've seen. We've seen 3 laptops so far. I don't think they're going to gain a whole lot of traction with this generation, but notebooks are absolutely on a yearly refresh, and I expect a new version of these APUs towards the end of the year, and I think those would be really compelling parts. I won't necessarily go run out and buy one of these until they figure out the driver stuff, until they maybe OEMs figure out how to handle thermal throttling on these parts that might run a little higher wattage than, because they have big GPUs in them.
Right.
So,
But I would say, especially for something like this, where it's supposed to be, something that you are more likely to be able to game on.
Yeah.
You kind of need drivers.
you need
kind of
drivers.
need Doom to run. I mean, that's kind of like
Yeah, we were very surprised that Doom couldn't run. Actually, one of our test points in this article was the last generation APU, the FX 9800P, I believe.
Yeah.
Which HP released a very similar form factor machine in, so we had both of them side by side.
and that worked.
Yeah, and it worked.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like the Vega mobile variant of the driver wasn't quite ready in all cases, and like Doom is a game you would absolutely expect to run. And we were testing Vulkan in Doom just so it could be prepared for the circumstance. Like, okay, this would be a cool point. We can test Vulkan on the Ryzen plus Vega combination. I think that'll be like a really cool data point. But we tried a bunch of crap and could not get it to launch.
Were you like, so you couldn't even get far enough to turn Vulkan on or off?
We couldn't get into the game. It was crashing in the intro screens, and yeah,
That's
did a
annoying.
whole bunch of diagnosing and trying to figure stuff out. Go into INI files and like set the resolution super low to try to launch the game,
Still
sort of thing. I couldn't do it.
That's unfortunate. I hope they update the driver, or just AMD takes that crap over.
You know what? I'm thinking about just now is like a Nook competitor would be cool with this part in it.
Yeah.
A little mini PC with these Ryzen 5 APUs in them. Just a thought.
I'd look at one.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Intel pushes Xeon to the edge with refreshed Skylake-based Xeon D SoCs. Skylake-based.
Well, Xeon D hasn't been updated in a long time.
And still hasn't been updated in a long time. Right? Since they're still on Skylake. What's this? They updated it to they added mesh to it. That's interesting that they added mesh.
Well, this is
18 cores.
yeah, it's up to 18 cores.
No, I get it. I get it. It's just interesting that you go through the trouble of making it work with the mesh architecture, but you're still on like the Skylake,
Well,
design.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Skylake X, which is goes up to 18 cores on the desktop, is
Oh,
where
that's
the
true.
mesh stuff it was being introduced in the consumer level, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the natural evolution of that.
Okay. So they're using mesh. They're going up to 18 cores. All right. I follow so far.
Another page of SKUs.
Another page of SKU. Yeah, where's the... Oh. Did he break out all
Up
the
to 3
SKUs?
gigahertz,
Yeah, there we go.
man.
Yeah.
There's another page of SKUs to add to your Intel. If you had a spreadsheet going,
So
add
if you had
another
a spreadsheet going, I'm sorry.
bunch
I
of
hit
lines.
the Excel limit for table for
One number
cells.
of, number of rows and
Yeah.
columns and yeah.
So these are SoCs.
Yes.
If you don't know, so these are kind of meant for microservers. The home lab guys really like them for setting up and running a bunch of VMs on. They have cool things like 4 10 gigabit network ports integrated, Intel network integrated into the.
Into the silicon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On the chip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's interesting because so that 4 10
I
gig.
think it's up to 4, depending on what SKU CPU.
Well, the
you
four-
get.
the
Yeah,
40
they either have 4 or they have none. It looked like from
Right.
the SKU listing.
Actually, there's
And
only
that's-
one that doesn't have any, and that's the 18 core. All the rest of them have 4.
And the reason they do the 4x10 is Intel has there is a thing that they push that's a 40 gigabit link
Yeah, exactly.
that you break it up into 4 channels and each channel has a 10 gigabit link basically.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you think about even these are cool in data centers where you can pack in a lot for density for virtualized stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are also can be super cool and Xeon D has seen a lot of success in the past for home users. Think about building a NAS out of one of these.
Right.
Like the 8-core lowest end processor has a recommended customer pricing of $500, albeit expensive, but it's an SoC. Like you maybe put into a $500 to $700 bare bones, add some storage in it. You could have a really, really rockin' fast network.
What are you looking at for a board that you plug that into?
Uh,
Does it just have to? Are there
I think
only
you generally
server
buy
boards?
bare bones.
Okay.
You can buy boards, I believe. Well, I think they
That should be soldered on, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I think they're probably soldered on.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to ask if these were socketed or if they were.
So this will
I
just
can't
come
remember.
on something.
Yeah.
It's not like you get your workstation board and you throw your Xeon in it. It's
No, I don't believe how that works.
okay. You find some bare bones version of this.
You can buy it. You can buy it on a board, or you can buy it in a chassis from Supermicro or someone like that.
Okay. I'd imagine it'd be pricey even for the home lab crowd though.
I don't.
I
I mean, the home lab people can be pretty crazy,
yeah,
and
But they're usually
the
going for
ability to run
a
a super fast file server and a couple of VMs, got your Proxmox on a VM, and it.
that's true.
You could quickly fill this up with a lot of useful stuff that people want to learn how to do, and it's. I mean, you might. I don't know if you require ECC memory for this. I think you probably do. So
that's the
a
other
limit.
issue. It probably does.
I
Just
just
knowing,
always thought these Xeon D parts are super cool from a prosumer level.
Yeah.
For building cool little small servers that you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. You can just kind of buy a mostly turnkey solution, put whatever VMware hypervisor, which I'm blanking on the name of. Oh, come on.
What are you talking about? vSphere?
ESXi.
ESX? Oh.
Put
Oh,
ESXi on this, and then
Yeah.
there you go. Screw around with some
Yeah.
VMs, have some fun.
You do pay a little bit for the benefits that you get from these new ones. I mean, honestly, for this sort of device, the TDPs seem high. The lowest is a 60 watt, and they go up to 110.
Yeah, that does
which
seem pretty
is
high.
brilliant for a Xeon, but for a Xeon D, you're kind of, you're trying to pack them into a really small space, and that's a bit high, but you do get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah.
So the elephant in the room here, I'm guessing Spectre and Meltdown.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all that still
Oh, yeah.
applies
Oh, hell yeah.
here. So the perfect use case for this being VMs might actually kind of suck when talking to storage devices.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, these definitely don't have any sort of hardware mitigation in them. I imagine they'll probably ship with firmware patches for this stuff.
Yeah. If you're doing random reads, generally from what we've seen, all it does is increase the CPU usage. Doesn't really hit the performance that badly. It's when you go to do random writes, that's when you see like a 15, 20% cut in like your random write performance, depending on what you're trying to randomly write to. Well, yeah, we'll see how that, pans out later. Hey, speaking of these crazy multi-core CPU thingies, next up's Jeremy's news post on Dell's Epic package.
It's pretty big.
It's enormous.
I like
It
how
really
your
is.
P is lowercase.
Yeah.
Always. My P is always lowercase.
You like the tail to hang down.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what's the deal with these things, Jeremy?
Well, you've got 3 models where, well, first off, it's nice to see Epic being sold.
Yeah,
It's
that's great.
taken a while. So you've got 3 models: the R415, R7 415, and R7 425. And as we've sort of seen, Epic's arguably as fast or faster than an equivalent Xeon for significantly less price, which is a lovely thing. And these things are storage beasts. Just like the base model, the 1U R7 415, you can put 24 SAS or SATA or NVMe drives on the damn thing. So like a dozen
About
SAS or SATA and a
128
dozen
lanes.
NVMe.
Of
128 lanes, right?
PCIe plus
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that built-in SATA
Yeah.
that they combine for SAS. Yeah,
That's nice.
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's huge.
I wonder if
And-
the storage, at least the NVMe stuff, I hope that works a little bit differently on this architecture than what we've tested on Ryzen so far, because I've had a lot of headaches trying to get NVMe RAIDs performing consistently.
You're not gonna use the. You're not gonna do that with these.
What?
You're not gonna do the NVMe RAID stuff
You
that
might-
they
you
release
might-
to the consumer level.
You
with
might want a
these.
huge array. Like, why have all this storage connectivity if you're
I
not
think
going
it'd
to
be
use
the
it?
wrong way to use it, though.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have an application.
You're
that
gonna get a
addresses all
third-party
the
chip to do
drives,
your RAID.
or you're gonna have a RAID controller in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the software VROC style stuff just seems to be for AMD's side seems to be more consumer focused.
Yeah,
To me.
maybe. Okay.
But we can skip the middle child because, well, most people do. And the higher end one is just ridiculously crazy. So it's 2 sockets. So you can have a pair of Epics in there, up to 32 drives, of which 24 can be NVMe, and up to 4 terabytes of addressable memory. It's just kind of crazy to see that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, it's definitely going to put some pressure on Intel to drop the prices of their Xeons. That's for sure.
Well, you're seeing at
They're
the top
getting
end
that
like a
pressure from all
$500 price
sides.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean we need 30% more CPU power? Try to give us a deal on that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't apply that meltdown patch unless you want to lose a bunch of CPU power.
I think this is the sort of the second big vendor that I've seen. HPE announced one in like December.
Yeah.
Dell's a big win for this.
It's huge.
So are these actually shipping or are these just announced?
Probably somewhere in between.
If you've got a big enough account with Dell, you could probably put in an order for one, but I don't expect you're going to see it on a store anytime soon.
Yeah.
And there's also a little bit of question because a lot of the other 2 models, they say there's up to 2 terabytes of storage, but on the spec sheets, it says up to 1. So it sort of says, yeah, it's almost ready for prime time, but not quite yet.
Well, let's see. It's the, at least the low end one is add to cart on Dell's website right now. Ships in
Nice.
11 to 15 business days.
How much money?
2180 or so?
Oh, well, that's...
Is their base config of the R6415.
Cool.
The 7425 when it comes out should be about $3,800 for the base one.
Is that just one socket populated or?
Base model. Well,
Let's
Yeah, probably.
see here.
Okay.
Yeah, I only see one processor mentioned. Well,
that's
Yeah.
$1,500 difference between it and the lower model. So maybe
That's still a pretty good price.
we
go and
gotta
buy
get
one. Find us.
we gotta get us an Epic based server to play with.
Oh, for
We
sure.
have a Xeon based server about to play with.
Yep.
We need to get Epic. I want to get
And
my
the,
hands on it.
and the Plex/NAS
Oh,
server
God.
is a Threadripper, so we're kind of close.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Intel Vaunt glasses. I assume that's what the Vaunt is, right?
Well, no, it's a device that fires laser beams into your eye.
Freaking lasers.
Directly into your retina.
Yes.
Yeah. Luckily, it only does it on one side, so that warning is very appropriate. It is a very low power laser.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just below a class 1, I think, or it's on the low end class 1.
Yeah, it's a
I think
low
they
end
said.
class one.
What I find interesting is that it does the thing where it's actually focusing directly on your retina.
Yeah.
Which means it kind of doesn't matter what your vision is. So if the glasses were corrective in nature, because you were nearsighted or farsighted or whatever, it doesn't really matter because
Nope.
it's a laser, it's coherent light. It's not really gonna care what of your misshapen eyeball or misshapen lens or whatever does to the beam. Like it's just gonna project in focus. It doesn't have a choice but to be in focus on your retina.
And supposedly it's very innocuous until you look down, and then it sort of brightens up enough that you see it at the bottom of your field of vision.
Yeah, because it doesn't. The beam doesn't actually. The beam is coming at your retina to the point where like it has to make it through the opening in the front of your eye, and the way that the beam is coming in, your eye has to be pointed down for it to actually make it through.
Yeah.
So, also pretty cool. So you only see it when you're looking down, which I think is just.
And you don't look like a glass hole because you don't have a camera sitting out the front of it.
Yeah.
There is that, but I saw the video. I don't know if the video is here or not. I saw a video from somebody like on Verge.
You could
or-
occasionally see the laser.
Yeah, you can see a little
I'm
red,
sure.
like you can see like slightly reflecting off of the bottom of the lens of from your perspective, the left lens
Yeah.
of the person's glasses. So you can kind of tell, but just a slight tinge of like Locutus of Borg going
but
on
you
there.
could turn them off and they don't really look bulky or like
Right, yeah,
they're
there's-
fairly chunky frames, but they don't look chunkier than anything you might buy off the shelf,
Right.
unless you're looking specifically at the temple where the laser projector is, or any like or
Yeah, and red, subtle red light is very, very, cyberpunk.
it's true.
Sure, sure.
It was supposed to be blue.
Yeah, blue, red.
Ah,
Whatever.
So let's take a bet. Does Intel ever ship this
No.
Hmm.
outside of developers?
I mean, I don't think they plan on it.
No, they kind of said they plan on it.
It sounded they were talking kind of like technology
No,
developer platform-ish thing.
This is supposed to be an end user device.
I understand, but their verbiage was kind of like develop,
They
Like
plan
the
on shipping it
Oculus-
to developers this year.
like
but,
the Oculus, like the development kit from them,
yeah,
right? Yes, there were some people that bought it, but it wasn't meant to be like this mainstream
no,
thing.
but beyond the development kit, they've said,
Oh, they want to be making them?
yeah, like they don't want to hand this off to as like open tech to someone. Like they might partner with someone like Oakley or something like that. But I think that the plan is for Intel to have at least some fairly direct role in selling them, which I think will never happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Place your bets. We need like a pool back here or something as these things happen.
The fifth of never.
Yeah. All right, next up, Tobii eye tracking. Speaking of eyeballs and, well, not freaking lasers this time.
Hopefully not.
So Sebastian wrote this up. He came with us to the Consumer Electronics Show a few weeks back in Vegas, and one of his visits was to the Tobii suite where he saw some eye tracking stuff. In this case, Tobii is the company that does like the eye tracking cameras on like the bottom of displays and stuff like that, and it's on some laptops and it's on a couple of desktop displays, I think, and you know, it's cool technology. I think Jim wrote something up at one point about it. He tried it out, or
Yeah, I think he reviewed a monitor with it built in,
Yeah.
like a Predator.
So I mean, you know, it's cool. But even cooler application for it is to put the sensors inside a headset for virtual reality, and then use that for eye tracking, so that you can do the whole foveated rendering, or you know, just basically imagine whatever VR type things you could do if the system understood exactly which way you were looking, in addition to which way your head was pointing and which way you know, where your hands were pointing with the controllers and whatnot. So I don't know if what he saw was doing the foveated rendering or just focusing.
As far as I haven't actually read the article, but his description when he came back from that meeting was that they had like a demo that they flipped on and off, I believe.
Oh, the eye tracking effect on or off.
Like foveated rendering on and off.
Oh,
like
really? Okay.
Foveated rendering has been on this entire demo. Can you tell that like the text on the outsides wasn't very readable, and you apparently couldn't.
Okay.
So apparently they were actually doing foveated rendering, which blows my mind. It does not seem like we're there yet.
I mean, it makes sense.
Well, Toby's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, it's a hard problem to solve in a VR headset.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the key is you have to have a turnaround time super fast, right? It has to know that you moved your eye to that new position and be able to re-render whatever it needs to render, you know, where your eye just shifted to, and without you perceiving the previous frame that was there, which would presumably
It's like, why is this blurry? Now it's sharp. Why is this blurry?
exactly.
Now it's
You
sharp.
wouldn't want that. Like every time you shifted your gaze to something else, like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I guess you could have, I guess if while your eye was moving to the new position, whatever frame was drawn right then, you might not even perceive,
Yeah.
because, you know, it's doing 90 frames per second or higher. I don't know if this one's higher,
But
but
from his description, this was a modified Vive, so I doubt they changed the
so
screen
it
optics at
probably
all.
was 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were very cagey about like seeing this in anything or anything. They said they're working with some people, and we might see some stuff at like in 2018, but it's probably 2019, which is just disappointing.
Yeah. It is interesting how they have so there's the infrared emitters, I guess, around each lens there. It's cool. Oh, I forgot the mouse cursor does not show in our stream thing.
Nope.
Oh, well.
So I've always wondered, if someone has a lazy eye, does it mess with their eye tracking?
I mean, I imagine it would mess
Probably.
with this.
Okay.
Well, you'd have one eye focused on whatever it would normally be a lazy eye focused on.
I imagine you could probably
Right.
fix that in software.
You could always fix it in software.
You could like prioritize one eye or the other for
Like you
what.
just turn on lazy eye mode, and like it just
Yeah, you
kind
have
of
to-
ignores that one.
Yeah, you have to tell it which one or whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you
Honestly,
think they have a male gaze mode that it pre-renders everything that you're pretty sure guys would look at?
I will say I don't think there's even in the current generation VR stuff, I don't know of any way to like turn off one of the eyes, which would probably be the preference of somebody that was like
You mean
I
turn
don't-
off one of the eyes?
just not
Electrical tape?
Not yes, I know, just tape over, but like,
Duct
Just
tape.
because you have a lazy eye doesn't mean you don't see stereoscopically.
well, sure, but like you might not want like if your eye, the other eye was, you know, I don't know. Sorry, I don't have that problem, so I can't really speak to it. But anyway, next up, what do we got? Ripping out cryptocurrency with 1950X, says Jeremy. Oh yeah, there's that Bitcoin.
With a
There's the Bitcoin
graph on
bouncing.
why you might not want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of trending down lately. So an article on like, hey, you should buy a CPU and mine with it to help you pay it off might not be the best in timing.
Just a little slower.
Well, but here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
It was using, when he was chugging Moneris full out and getting 2005 hashes a second, 335 watts at the wall.
Okay.
including a GPU.
That's
Including
with a
GPU.
1080 Ti. Or
Yep.
no, just a 1080, sorry.
Yeah, just 1080.
That's not bad.
No.
Like, that's not a huge amount of power being sucked out.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of the other mining rigs, you're going to see northwards of 6.
I mean, that's a decent rate. Now, granted, I mean, the payout kind of varies depending on what the whole cryptocurrency market's doing, but
flattening, falling.
It's-
I mean, it's
Roller
been, it's been
coaster.
yeah, it's been a roller coaster. But I mean, that probably works out to like what, a 6-month, maybe more ROI.
I don't know. what it was
Well,
at
no,
current
he
rates.
says up and running at the current rates, which were February 1st, year and a half.
Oh,
That-
really?
That's for
Oh,
complete.
yeah,
Or
he's,
payoff.
1950
he's talking about the
X.
whole. He's talking about the whole system though, like probably with the motherboard and everything, right? I would guess. It's probably up there. He probably took the price of the whole system.
Threadripper is currently 915.
Oh, well, yeah, that's pretty pricey for this.
No, I think that might be
Just the CPU.
1.5 years for
Well,
I-
either
I
way,
mean,
just the Threadripper.
either way, if you just always have it doing that when it's idle, you know, whenever you're not sitting at the PC, like it helps.
Well,
right?
The
Yep.
more interesting thing is we did a little bit of testing with this on our own Threadripper platform here in the office, and the way Monero works is it needs a lot of L3 cache, so that's the bottleneck you hit first. So
Yeah.
you can only really max out half of the threads on a 1950X before any
run
more
out of
estimation
L3.
returns.
Yeah.
So
Well-
you can do other stuff while mining on just that
True.
CPU. Or
Yeah.
you could turn it down to a couple less threads if you want to run a game. Right? Like you could have it
yeah.
always going at some level in the background, which is really interesting and not something you think of with GPU mining. I mean, some people will hook up to their internal GPU so they can do that, but that's not a very good solution.
I would pre-plan a little bit if you intended to do that and make sure you had like maybe a quieter cooler with a little
beefier
more.
one too would probably be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, beefier cooler. Just because, you know, the if it's a smaller one or if it's on the smaller side, like you're just going to hear the fans all the time and
Yeah.
it'll get kind of annoying. So overbuild yourself a little bit on the cooler so it's not so loud. But then, yeah, you could totally get away with it just running all the time.
Don't
And he does point out that if you go like a different way, like nice hash, you could
Yeah.
probably make more money, but you wouldn't be
Uh,
able to run it quieter.
Oh, versus just mining Monero
Moneros,
only
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think even with nice hash, the CPU would still be mining Monero.
Yeah, Kryptonite is the only algorithm for CPU mining.
Yeah, the
on nice
GPU, the
hash.
GPU would be a little,
be doing whatever.
yeah, a little more profitable, but
Yeah.
yeah, your CPU. There's pretty much only one game in town for CPU
Yeah.
mining right now. So
Yeah.
Don't go buy a Threadripper thinking you're going to pay it off doing this. But hey, guess what? If you want to justify it, you
Yeah.
can buy a couple
Yeah.
of games maybe.
well, like, you know, a year and a half. If you're planning this thing to pay itself off in a
Oh.
year and a half, like the market might not even exist a year and a half from now, or it
Kinda
could be
hope
worth
not.
10 times what it is. Who the heck knows in this thing? But I'm just saying.
Or
like,
both might be true in the same day.
simultaneously, yes. Yes. Just went from its peak to zero in like one day at the end of the, you know,
Oh my God, Bitcoin's worth 50,000.
and now it's worth $3.
Sell. Crap, I missed it. It was $2.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Next up, Tim wrote this up. Plexter launched some budget SSDs in the form of the M8V, which we just happened to get one in, and it's
Weird.
right here, and we gotta test it. But yeah, 64-layer Toshiba BICS flash. That's that flash memory that they were talking about the CES before last. Everybody was kind of waiting on this flash to come out. Western Digital was waiting on it. Of course, Toshiba was waiting on it because they're the ones making it, right? Like, it had all these companies just dying to be able to buy this flash from them, and now it's out and it's shipping and it's starting to show up and stuff. So that's great because, you know, more competition in the NAND flash market.
10 cents a gig.
Well, I mean, that's the only way you're going to get there is with more competition, right? If you ever had a chance of hitting 10 cents a gig in the
Is this SSD 10 cents a gig?
no, of course not.
Sorry, I had to play Ryan there.
No, you're not gonna get that just yet. Actually,
Come on, Plextor? Plextor? Have you seen how much they charge for their DVD drives?
That's a captive
Yeah, but
market.
it was
There's
worth
actually
it, Josh.
There's actually competition in SSDs.
Listen, Josh. That's that point. You know how like when DDR2 got really expensive? Like, I think that's where we're at with the Plextor DVD drives right now.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the optical drive company that was the shit way back in the day? Was that Lighton? One that could read.
Lighton's
both.
still around.
It's Plextor/Lighton.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was Plextor.
Yeah, one of those.
They could do a 3-sheep or a 4-sheep burn.
Yeah.
Well, one of them would actually read the original PSX disc.
Yes.
Was that the light
There
on I'm
was
thinking of?
like one specific model of like I think that might have been the Plexter. Or you're right though. It could have been like some weird obscure model of a
Yeah,
light
it
on.
was
Come
something
on, back
weird.
in the day, the 386s, the first CD drives, they always had the CD caddy. It
Yeah.
was more stable
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the trays.
Yeah. The good old caddy.
I don't even know what
Mhm.
that means.
Our buddy Sony and their multi-tray drives.
They were so worried about the discs getting scratches on them.
Hey,
Or the Kenwood
They actually-
multi-laser drive.
Oh God!
Oh god.
You know how many times we've mentioned that drive on this podcast?
I bought 2 of them.
It's been at least 5 years since we last
That
mentioned it.
can't be right.
I bought 2 of them. I had the SCSI version and the IDE version because the reason I went for the second one was because the first one had all these problems that the second one, by the way, also had. It was just slightly not as bad. Like the SCSI version didn't hang the entire system when it screwed up, like the IDE version did.
Yeah.
But it's still messed up royally. So
Someone in the chat linked a random Amazon listing for a 2 terabyte Micron 1100 SATA SSD
that's
For-
like a super budget.
for $369.98. That is 18 cents a gigabyte
That's
for
surprisingly
2
good.
terabytes.
I'm pretty sure that drive is just straight TLC, I believe.
Storage, baby.
That's true.
It don't matter.
That's true. Steam
And it's
game,
got 2 terabytes worth
Hey,
of it.
Steam
Can't go
game
that
drive,
slow.
That's a
Oh
great.
damn, half of it died.
Seriously,
Wait, I
that-
still got a terabyte.
That is a great Steam game drive right there. You know,
Yeah.
just don't try to play the games while other Steam games are downloading to the drive.
Wait, they don't enable that by default anyway, so you're good.
Oh, really? Steam doesn't download while you're playing it?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
I've never watched it while playing a game, so you know.
Yeah, no, they pause. I think it's because it used to be very CPU intensive, but I think they still,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
still pretty CPU intensive. You
Yeah.
can like make it, you can force it to, but they don't recommend it at all, I believe.
When Tim wrote this, they didn't have pricing. Actually, I'm pretty sure I don't have pricing either, and I already have the review unit. I'll have to ask him and see if there's pricing on this M8V. I don't think it's going to be as cheap as that Micron 1100 drive. But you know. All right, next up, also from Tim, MSI launches Radeon RX 580 Armor Mark II graphics card. This cooler looks awful familiar to me.
Yeah, MSI has been going with a similar design.
Yeah, that looks
This
like their
recently.
same.
That's like the armor cooler.
Yeah.
They have like the
I think I have like one of those in white or something.
yeah, the TI, the 1080 Ti looks like that, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot here, but it's interesting to see MSI announce a new graphics card in this climate.
Yeah.
Like almost why even bother revising your RX 580 at this
Like,
point?
it's probably immediately sold out. Like,
Yeah.
Is this a link? Oh, no, that's just a tech power up. Gonna see like if this link was to like it on sale somewhere, but presumably it would just be sold out immediately or overpriced
Presumably,
right now.
but it's nice to see active development on graphics cards.
Sure.
There was a lot of this post. There's a lot of interest on the site, like a lot of comments and stuff. It's interesting.
Hmm.
There's no new graphics card news. People gotta hold on to something.
You know, there's a chance that the miners might not even actually be paying attention to this and just might
Well,
be
they're
like,
just paying attention to what comes up on Newegg.
I guess. I had a shred of hope that like new model might squeak through the cracks and some
It's
people
not
might be
on
able
that one stocked out yet. Net maybe. Like they haven't added it yet.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. You
The
know?
all new MSI crap at mining graphics card.
Yeah. Just call it crap at mining.
Just call it like not Radeon RX 580.
Yeah. Like not a flamethrower.
Just make it a typo. Like the
RX 850.
the Radeon XR 850 never come up for miners to buy on Google.
It's like this little secret bit of knowledge that only the gamers know.
Funny, I've heard that was a really good detector for your basement.
Yeah. All right. Next up, one from Jeremy. Windows S is now just an awkward phase which your PC can grow out of. What is this Windows S crap again?
So remember Windows S, it's the thing that locks you down so you can only run things out of the Microsoft Store and you can't run 32-bit anything.
Okay.
Because,
Well-
that's what we look for in a computer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
But technically sort of secure and, dare I say, very Chrome-like.
Technically, sort of. I bet it's still Spectre vulnerable.
Of course.
Saying.
I think that you can get that in the Microsoft Store.
Oh yeah. Just
maybe on purpose.
It's a free download.
Actually, I don't know if it's Spectre vulnerable because I don't know if you could
You can run enough apps.
execute the code necessary.
Yeah, you have to be able to
Because-
run another thread in the
Because
background.
all UWP apps are sandboxed. I don't know if that would. I don't know.
The
I don't know.
sandboxing will
Yeah.
not. The Spectre can get through the sandboxing.
I just don't
is
know what the
thing.
limitation of code on UWP is.
Right.
That'd be an interesting thing to check, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that before, I mean, you'd buy a machine with Windows S, and if you tossed money at them, you were allowed to upgrade.
Oh.
Or a lot of OEMs were offering free upgrades for like a year.
Yes, and the OEM would offer a free one. So now it's become a mode that you can run, and you can turn it off and just get a normal home for free. But if you want Pro, they want about $70.
It's a mode you can run. In other words,
So the theory being like you buy a new $500 laptop from Acer and you open it up and it's in Windows 10 S mode because they probably got a discount from Microsoft for doing it
okay.
on their license.
Okay.
So
So
then you try to run something, you get frustrated, and you click the box to upgrade, and it upgrades to Windows 10 Home.
okay.
But the funny thing that I bought out of this one was over at Thurrott.com. He did some studies and found out that just over 80% of people who bought like a third-party Windows S device that didn't hit that point and turn it off within the first week just stuck with it. Like they didn't know
dear.
any better.
Yeah, I mean,
those poor people.
Chromebooks are a popular segment, and
Oh,
this
yeah.
is sort of the same thing. You can't run Chrome because Chrome's out UWP, so
Well,
you're stuck with Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, Windows 10s. A funny story actually. Jim was working on an article, and he installed Windows 10 fresh from a USB drive with just like all the SKUs available, and he apparently accidentally installed Windows 10s. And was getting pissed off as to why he couldn't run like the graphics driver installer. He was like, "What is going on?" And he eventually figured out, like, "Oh, I installed S by accident."
That's a bad day.
So that's just bad.
Sorry, Win32 not going to happen.
Yeah. All right, next up, Valve supporting AMD's GPU-powered True Audio. Next in latest Steam Audio beta. Steam Audio. Okay, first of all, what is Steam Audio?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think it's like a API that developers can use in game, like in Unity and Unreal and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure what it accomplishes, but it's
Oh.
like a developer package.
okay.
For
So it's not something
something.
that's like locked into a Steam game. It's
Probably
just-
not. Knowing
just a-
Valve.
Can be.
I mean,
It's like
Sure.
anything. You have to put the code in there and have it supported and make it run. It's not like just you play a game and you've got an AMD processor and a GPU and drivers. It's not going to give you True Audio Next stuff. I mean, it uses the GPU as a kind of DSP. I think that's a little
okay.
simplistic, but essentially, yeah, you got to have the support in there, and the game's got to support it, and it's not just plug it in and go. But
Is this-
yeah,
So this might be kind of a carryover from like Valve/Steam's VR stuff, right? Because they're big on like the whole positional audio stuff in like VR environments for at least the apps that for the VR demo style things that they've put out on Steam so far, like the lab and all that other stuff. So yeah, stands to reason they had some development work in that, and maybe they just took that and said, hey, let's just make this an API, which makes sense, right?
yeah, because the original True Audio was such a success.
Well,
Yeah, did you ever think we'd hear about True Audio again?
I did
Not
not.
really, but this is kind of good because it just utilizes the GPU in a more general way than having a couple of DSPs and the 290, 390 series, 385. Those
Somewhere around there.
Just make up some more
those
numbers.
level. No, it's the 285 and the 380. Sorry. But yeah, those were the last of the hard wired true audio GPUs from AMD, and doing this in a more general way, it's a step backwards because it can't do it as effectively as true audio, but because it utilizes the more general purpose shaders, it's maybe not easier to implement, but you can implement it across a larger variety of GPUs.
All right. Cool. Next up, actually, last news thing of the week here. SK Hynix sampling enterprise SSDs with 72-layer, 512 gigabit 3D TLC flash.
That's a lot of layers.
It's a lot of layers. Actually, SK Hynix already had 72-layer. They just didn't have it in 512 gigabit. So the things that flash makers will tend to do is, as they go higher in the layers, they'll do an initial round of memory that actually has a lower capacity per die. In other words, the die is actually a smaller square area relative to before for the same capacity. And the reason is because they just stacked higher.
Yeah.
Right? And they do that 2 reasons. One, like potentially higher yield, right? It's a very complicated thing trying to make more layers in the first place. Why try to do that and have even more area of the die all have those crazy high layers?
Scale up then out, not both at the same time.
So they're scaling up. Well, they actually scale up and narrow it at the same time.
Yeah, fair.
Right? Because they're trying to keep the capacity equivalent. So that's part one. Part two is that the higher capacity per die, you actually end up worse off at lower capacity SSDs because you have fewer dies, and typically each die can only transfer data so quickly into or out of it, to the SSD controller. So it makes more sense to make the dies smaller and have more channels connected to flash in like your lower capacity points for your SSDs. It doesn't apply so much to enterprise SSDs because they're usually going for crazy high capacities, and just enterprise just wants big of everything. Yeah, basically. So that's why it makes sense that these are destined for enterprise SSDs, because each die is 64 gigabytes. So 128 gig SSD with this thing would be 2 dies. Like you could fit more than that even in one flash memory package. You can almost stack those 2 dies on top of the controller and just have like one freaking, it wouldn't make any sense, right? And the performance wouldn't be great anyway, because you're only talking to 2 dies. So they can only go so quickly. But just, good to see the progress marching on. And of course they have a wafer in that shot, so I'm a softie for a wafer shot.
Nice wafer pick.
Nice wafer pick. Well, so I'm pretty sure that's the actual, those are the dies.
Well, I would hope. That'd be a bad marketing photo if it wasn't.
Well, actually, those might be the 256 gigabit dies from last year, because they look pretty small. Anyway. Cool stuff. Make more bigger flash dies and cheaper and 10 cents a gig. There.
Yeah.
Ryan, plug for the podcast completed. Okay. What do we got? Picks of the week.
I don't know. What do we got?
Hold on. I got to get Josh.
Apparently we got a bra.
I got to get Josh's pick of the week.
It's bro. What?
I got to get Josh's pick of the week.
The man's here.
Raw, bro.
So I recently, this is definitely like not computer stuff, but that's par for the course with me.
Yeah, it's like, nubbins.
So, yeah, rubber nubbins.
Oh,
this is just a bigger rubber nubbin.
Nubbins.
So I recently acquired a vehicle that I cared about not chipping the paint on, because it was kind of pricey. So like I wanted to, protect the thing. And I've done like, you get this paint protection film stuff. It's like clear, and you put it on, and usually you got to go to a shop that knows what the heck they're doing, because it's kind of tricky to cut it to the right shape and form it to whatever parts of your car.
Having watched this happen
person.
real time, it looks like the biggest pain in the ass.
Yeah,
in the world.
it's like an art form to be able to take the raw sheets of it and shape it and cut it and
you know how bad we all
properly.
are with using X-Acto knives to cut exact shapes out.
Yes. Yeah. So I personally don't want to take X-Acto knives to the front of this car that I got, right? So apparently you can.
So you used a chainsaw,
yeah,
right?
so I use a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So I called around town and just got some quotes just for like putting this plastic protecting stuff on the front end of a car.
It's not
right?
cheap.
No, it's like between $1,000 and $1,500 to do just like the front clip of the car.
Yeah.
Which is insanity.
That seems
right?
a bit
Put a
pricey.
bunch of Scotch tape on there.
But the raw material is like between $300 and $400 ish.
It's just like screen protector material.
Yes, but you need it to the
Really
right shape.
big sheets.
So anybody that's gotten a screen protector for an iPad or an iPhone or your Android phone or whatever, you know you need the right shape, right? And they get the nice pre-cut ones. Imagine if you can get that for your car. You could just order, instead of the roll coming just raw, it just came already cut out. Yeah. And then there's this company, Car Protection Pro company I came across, and they just, like, these templates are kind of standard. Like, there's software that the people that do this professionally will use if they have a cutter.
Yeah.
And they can actually
Yeah,
do
so,
this.
so here's the dirty little secret is that they're just doing this anyways.
Yeah.
No one really shapes it by hand for the most part.
Did the other guys have like a template or something?
It
or did
was
they-
like half and half.
okay.
Like
Probably
like-
because the car was brand new that they were trying to do. And
yeah, like the
you know.
template wasn't good in some positions. Like it just wasn't cut very well for some aspects, so they did some of it by hand. But like, yeah, they went to the not a laser cutter, like just
right. It's like, what do you got? You got an A3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So A3, all trim levels. What year is it?
16.
2016. There you go. Oh, watch this site make a fool out of me and not have it.
Wow, you got an A3? Wow.
Oh, wow. There's carbon and stuff, too. I'm just looking for the
It's a
clear
Jetta
stuff.
with a body kit on it, and don't be so impressed.
So maybe I went to the wrong section or something, but they usually have clear in all of these shapes. But this is all just pre-cut to fit.
Well, no, that's just clear in the description.
Oh.
That just must be like the backing on it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it looked like it was carbon or something.
Because if it was clear, would they be able to take a picture of it against a white background?
So these things, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of just trying to make this stuff fit on the car, right? If you can just get it pre-cut, and it's about about the cost you would pay just for the material anyway, if you were doing it yourself.
See, now the problem I have is that's half the battle. I've tried putting on screen protectors, which are much smaller and more manageable, and I always get bubbles.
Well, just come over and I'll just do it, because I've done stuff like this
Yeah.
before.
It's
Because he likes to do it.
You need a lot
like to do it.
of like
Patience,
soapy water and a spray bottle.
soapy water, patience, and heat guns, basically.
You
Yeah.
still talking about the bra here?
Yes,
Exactly.
So if you're, there's a lot of car people that like follow the site and send me emails about random stuff. But if you're a car person, you
Yeah, this makes absolute sense. I didn't know you could just like. I figured that software, like those patterns, would be very like secretive.
I'm
Like,
sure they are
Very
secretive.
expensive to get the
Yeah.
pattern access.
yeah. But this company bought them, and they're just
Yeah, that's cool.
cutting the patterns and just sending the stuff out. So just
And you got one that shows off your car's cleavage nicely?
it's,
Push up.
anyway. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was
you
cool.
got to get
Thought it
those
might,
headlights up a couple of inches to really impress people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, the sexual innuendo car jokes.
Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
Good luck
Ah.
explaining the Band-Aid on it, though.
Or the fake bullet holes. All right. Jeremy said registry cleaner my arse in the show notes. So
Windows Defender did something good.
they're gonna
or at least they're going to. It's not out yet.
They're banning the crapware registry cleaner program.
Yes,
What?
it will
How
just
will-
remove the damn thing.
What? How will I clean my registry?
No longer
Oh.
will I have to have bizarre discussions in which I can't get upset at a relative about how, no, that thing which you installed that says you have 3,000 out-of-date drivers and 1,500 useless registry entries isn't the thing that made your computer run almost as good as it used to. It's what made it run like shit. It's what broke it. Oh no, but it's a registry cleaner. It's doing a good job. Like no, it's not. It's horrible. It's cancer. And so it's going to just start without prompting, without any mention whatsoever, just get rid of the nasty ones.
Well, good.
This makes me happy, and I can't believe it took this long.
I'm so upset. My registry's gonna be so bloated now.
That's its job, Kevin.
Oh, it's just it's way overdue for things like that. Anyway, next up, Josh.
Me.
Yes, you. What you got?
I gotta remember what I got.
You don't even remember
So
what you
a
got?
couple years
Polka.
ago, I bought a pair of Polka monitor type speakers to replace some that my wife had blown up, and I've been very, very happy and impressed with them. And these are the next generation of them. I know that Polk is not exactly a high-end brand, and people kind of look down on it a little bit.
Usually
But
good
their
for the money.
engineering is solid, and the materials are, again, pretty good. And for a pair, for slightly less than $200,
That's good.
they're pretty nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get these on sale for about $150. And like you said, if you sign up for Amazon Prime Rewards Visa card, you get $70 off. We're not getting paid for that, by the way. But yeah, they're pretty decent and getting shipped from Amazon. They're pretty neutral. They're not overly boomy. They're not raspy. They're not tinny. It's just a really nice performing speaker for not a whole lot of money.
Can't complain with that.
Oh, it's good. But plug that thing
Some
in
people
the,
like Polk. Some people hate it.
plug that
but-
plug that thing in a camel instead of watch on it, so you know if it drops below 200.
Sure, why not?
Now, let's say maybe you wanted to go a different direction.
Okay.
For the past couple of years, I've used bookshelf speakers. I used actually the Pioneer Andrew Jones 2.0.
Those are good speakers.
2.0 setup, great speakers
Sure.
for my home theater setup. However, I was at a crossroads. I had a crappy stereo analog receiver, and I was doing analog sound out of my TV, and just wouldn't work quite
Oof.
right. Things are getting funky with that. Like if I ran Spotify through a Chromecast, it wouldn't output audio. It's like a whole bunch of weird shit.
Because the TV didn't want to
I-
go on the analog
I
out.
honestly have no idea. That was the only app I ever ran into, but it's one that I used a decent amount,
So
and it
weird.
was just kind of disappointing. So my options were to buy a new receiver, which I looked at, or replace the bookshelf speakers entirely. I went with the latter option based on Sebastian's recommendation of this soundbar, the YAS207. He heard this at an event recently that he was at, and he came away really positive about it, and I decided to pick one up. I bought mine on Accessories for Less for like $220, which is the certified refurb dealer. It's not generally in stock, but if you just set an email, like they have a thing to set an email alert on the page if you search for the model number. That's what I did. They emailed me. I ordered it right away and got it for a little less, but $270 is pretty good. It's on sale right now.
Yeah.
You listened to this a bit at the office. I did a little more digging with it and turned off some of the post-processing, and it actually sounds really freaking good.
It sounded like the processing was getting in the way when I heard it.
Yeah.
Here.
So I figured out how to turn that stuff off. It has a bad phone app, like a really outdated phone app, which is annoying.
Does it just do regular Bluetooth pairing and you just...
Yeah.
Does it do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you're not so worried about a phone
No.
app.
So if you run in stereo mode without any of the enhancements turned on, it's great for stuff like watching TV and watching YouTube and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Okay.
However, the DTS Virtual X virtual surround sound stuff is actually pretty awesome when watching movies.
Okay.
So it works pretty well. I have a pretty small living room, and I can actually get some bounce where it feels like sound is coming from behind me, where I definitely do not have the room for rear surrounds. My couch is pushed
Like
up against the wall.
Yeah.
It was never going to happen. And actually, it's pretty cool. And the real scheme I have is that with the thing I put my TV on top of, the piece of furniture, and the bookshelf speakers, I couldn't get a bigger TV because I was limited by space. I only have a sound bar.
Oh.
I could get a bigger TV.
Finally.
So we'll see about that. One downside is that it only has two HDMI ports. It has one for directly connecting a device, and the other one is for EARC, the audio return channel.
Yeah.
Which is just what I've been using. It doesn't support like ERC or ARC won't support high-end codecs, which this soundbar doesn't particularly do anyways. So like, I'm not trying to run Atmos through the soundbar because it doesn't support it, first of all. So
Right.
But it's all worked flawlessly. CEC and everything works really well with the TV. Like I have the shield and the TV and the sound bar, and I just wake up the shield and everything turns on and it's right. And the shield remote controls the volume of the sound bar. It's all just worked.
Cool.
And for less than $300, just it's awesome. It comes with a giant wireless sub that I have to turn way down because I live in an apartment. One day I'm going to turn that sub
One
up.
day.
So yeah, give it a
Alright.
look.
Cool. Wait a minute. There are 2 links here?
Just two
Yeah,
different
he hates
places.
pixels on both providers.
I do.
But wait, I thought I opened both links and it looks like it's the...
Just go with the Steam one.
Okay.
Yeah, go with the good old games.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. You pronounce that.
So
Terraria?
should this actually let me back up a little bit.
Terraria.
Thanks for taking the Steam out. Thanks, guys.
Well,
I just
he
What? You told me to use the Steam one.
no, I was talking about Jeremy.
Oh.
Jeremy. So anyway, I was gonna go into this nice monologue about how all great audio gear is just one of the finer joys in life, but no, we're just gonna cut right into it.
Oh, okay.
So this game came out in 2011, and I didn't realize that it was actually one of the top-selling games of all time. I picked this up for Christmas, actually, a Christmas gift on Steam, and got the 4-pack for $30 and gave it to a couple of my friends. They all hate me now. This has been a bigger time sink than Final Fantasy VII for me.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
That's a statement.
Now, I haven't actually reached that 180-hour point, but I fully expect to by the end of the month.
It looks like a pretty cool game.
It's
super neat.
It's very deep. It was very surprising about how much depth an auto-generated world has. It's quite entertaining, and especially for $10, there is many hours that you can get out of this.
They've added a lot of stuff over the years. I imagine they're pretty much done with that now that it's a
Yeah.
7-year-old game. Like,
They
there's
had,
a lot of content there.
There was, I believe there's been 3 major revisions to it after it was initially released. The latest one was 1.3, and there's been a couple minor revisions out. And that was released in April of last year. And
That's pretty impressive still.
they've been working on Terraria Otherworld, which has been kind of a cluster, it seems. But yeah, over the years they've added a whole bunch more stuff to it. Personally, I've just now stepped in the hard mode, which is about the halfway point, and I feel like a total noob. So yeah, I enjoyed it immensely.
Cool.
It's Minecraft if it was an actual game.
I don't get why people continue to compare it against Minecraft, because it's not the same thing at all.
It's not. They just can't, like, when Minecraft got really popular was about the same time that Terraria was out.
Yeah.
They're not that
Yeah,
similar,
yeah.
but it's a comparison people make all the time.
Looks cool. I will have to avoid playing it because I actually am trying to get stuff done.
I have an extra seat if you want one.
Mm,
He has his own time sink in
I have to.
Factorio.
Yeah.
I haven't touched that in like a month or 2. I've only touched it to maintain my mod for the community. But that only takes like an hour or 2 when they make some update that breaks it or something. All right, cool picks. So I'll wrap up the show. PCPro.com/podcast is where you will find this podcast and show notes for it.
And hopefully not any other podcasts. Hopefully just this podcast.
Well, I mean, you know, the previous editions of versions of this podcast and,
Fair.
you know, stuff like that. And previous show notes and stuff. Twitter.com/Ryan Shrout. Don't forget to ping the boss with random thoughts or whatever, and just
Feel free.
make him scratch his head and wonder what the heck's going
As
on.
he's eating something really wonderful in San Diego or wherever
Oh,
he's
is
at.
that where he's at? I don't even remember.
I don't
where he's
know.
at.
I honestly can't keep track anymore.
I can't keep
I
track.
think
of
it's Qualcomm something.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I did see some 5G tweets today.
5G.
Yeah.
That's a lot of G's.
Okay. Well, anybody got anything before we go?
486 forever.
46.
46SX.
Okay.
Oh, that DX stuff.
Yeah, SX for me.
Okay. Well, With that, I will bid everybody a good night or a good morning if you're listening to this not at night. Goodbye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
And he cycles the thing and the thing and then
And the thing and stuff.
then the after show and the thing.
Ta-da!
So I guess it was after 486 that Cyrix started putting the stupid P rating on their CPUs.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the P rating on that one?
It doesn't have one.
Oh,
AMD and Cyrix
you
just
bent
both.
pins.
Yeah, right. Those are difficult to bend pins too. 1993.
How
Cyrix
difficult?
USA.
We
Still got a 686 kicking around here somewhere.
We have. I was looking at the shelf earlier today of all of the CPUs that Ryan rescued from the Computer Recycling Center, and there was an IBM 686 over there, which is obviously like IBM
Cyrix.
bought Cyrix, right?
No, they licensed the Cyrix
Sorry, right.
processor.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Who licensed it from Intel?
No,
No.
Cyrix did
No,
not
Cyrix had
license
their own.
jack
Then-
shit from Intel.
Oh,
Cyrix
yeah,
was
I
bought
forgot.
up
That's
by
what I
VIA,
liked about
as
it.
well as Centaur.
I forgot. They just did the clean room, make their own CPU.
Yeah.
What was the other CPU we found in the pile, Ken? Was it a Spark 3?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, that's pretty neat.
You don't have any 8088s, though. I don't think.
Hard to
I might
find.
have one or two at the house, probably.
I don't think they're
My
that
first-
hard to find.
My first computer was a NEC V20. It was an 8088 knockoff,
Wow.
and at 10.3 megahertz
8088
in
is the
turbo.
It's the fun time where you can get a processor from Intel with an AMD logo on it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
Are you? What's he going for? Oh, he's going for the drawer.
I have no idea if AMD opened a new building in California. I don't think so, but I don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
He's got
Yeah,
he's got all the pretties.
Crap.
I do have all the pretties.
CPUs were so cool back in the day.
I know. I got a ton right behind me. But some Durons and K6s and K62s. Nothing before. Yeah, Pentium MMX and K6 though. Unfortunately,
Well, there's a P Pro on the thing that Alex has
Yeah,
there.
Here we have an Ultra Spark 3, Ultra Spark 3i, which is neat. The first Pentium Pro.
There's a lot of gold
That's a
in that.
giant
I mean, look at this
That's,
thing. It's
effing CPU.
There's like a few bucks worth of gold in that,
yeah.
just on the pins.
wasn't this like the biggest heat sink spreader until Threadripper? I mean, this thing's huge.
It is pretty
Not
big.
not
actually.
quite, I don't think.
I don't know. Do we got a Threadripper sitting around here?
That's
I'm,
big.
now I'm wondering.
That's a pretty big CPU.
Eh,
It's not bigger than Threadripper, but it's definitely up there.
We got this weird NVIDIA thing. G80.
Yeah, somehow we ended up
What
with
is
some.
this?
Oh, you can get G80 GPUs for days because of all of them they had to RMA due
Yeah.
to the solder issues.
Yeah, the BGA issue.
I've gotten offered from so many different graphics vendors G80 GPUs in not acrylic,
yeah.
lucite.
Yeah,
Lucite.
Ooh, we have an 800 megahertz.
Yeah, like-
Svia.
Yeah,
Oh,
see
like-
right there.
Like what he's got right there. Actually, I think I have one or
Galaxy.
two of those at the house.
Yeah, like
Ryan
G80s and
somebody-
G92s, easy to come by.
Somebody gave Ryan a box of lucite encased, NVIDIA GPUs at one
I
point.
had a
This is a G92.
okay.
Ooh.
I had a Lucite original, the first AMD APU die on my
I've got
keys.
one as well.
on my keys
sitting on
for-
my desk here somewhere.
for 6 or 7 years until like the keychain part bent off. I need to fix it and put it back on my keys.
Ooh, this one brings back memories right here. This is a Motorola 68040 with the
Oh, wow.
coprocessor.
Fancy.
Oh.
Yeah.
68040.
Yep.
I taught an entire reactor instrumentation course where I had to teach people the principles of operation of that CPU.
An 040?
They're probably still making
Well,
them
it
for
was
the government.
68000 series.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say probably not an 040, maybe like an 020 or an 030.
well,
but
I think what was actually installed in the gear was 68040. It's just because
That's the only thing you can
That's
get at
just-
that point.
I think at that point, yeah. But
Yeah.
like we were just teaching them like fundamentals of 68,000 architecture and how
Yeah, but-
asynchronous data transfers took place and everything.
Oh, you made Josh get up.
Wait, we're talking about CPUs and
I
Josh
know,
is
I
getting
know.
up.
he's going to get
Oh,
the
he's
good
digging.
Oh,
stuff.
he's going to a
Yeah.
stash.
Good
Uh-oh.
stuff.
Usually it's all within reach, but not tonight.
Oh, what
I'd
is
have to
this
get up
thing?
to get mine.
Going to get the cigar box full of CPUs.
We need a nice macro camera for this because this has a PCB on the bottom that extends past the heatsink spreader with a lead set.
Is that?
What CPU is it?
It's an IDT Win chip. Heatsink fan required. 60 megahertz clock.
Wow.
I'm not sure what's up with the PCB though.
It's like sticking out.
Yeah, it's got two
Huh.
things on the end there.
Oh. Josh is looking at his precious.
He's precious.
Pick a chip, any
Precious.
chip.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Ooh, I see a
Just
K6.
shuffling them like cards.
K6. There's an
there's,
Athlon 2.
The idea,
Athlon.
just the concept to me of an era where you had one socket where you could put in CPUs from multiple vendors, just
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close, Ken. Now we have the same socket name, but they're not compatible.
Ken, this was an era where an average person could look up the spec for the socket and like actually figure stuff out.
yeah.
This is the original Pentium. I think this
There's
is
a
a
Pentium.
75 megahertz.
Ooh, look, there we go. Matching.
Don't let it do your math for you.
Actually, this is the Pentium Pro. We have the
You have
Yeah,
any,
I think this is a.
any 3D now processors?
no.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't. Not here.
don't think so.
K62 3D now.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
Members in the chat are impressed with how many of these chips we have. They don't realize that they are worth
Nothing.
like absolutely nothing right now.
It's like
Hey.
the one time Ryan
They're
decided
worth
he
the
wanted,
sand they're printed on now.
It's like the time he decided he wants some more wafers, so he went to eBay and just bought generic wafer of God knows what.
Yeah.
like 3-inch wafers.
Well, and then there's
I guess
those
they're
over
more
there,
like
which I don't
probably
even know
6-inch
what's on
wafers.
those.
No, we know what's on those. That one's labeled. That one's from Global Foundries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Athlon 64 3500.
Go grab it.
I can't remember
Oh,
what's
let's
on.
use that still.
It's one of the original 939 pins. So it's nice to have.
Socket
I'm very
939
proud that
was
you've
the
all
first
dumped your slockets
was
because
the
that
first,
just never happened.
computer I built.
I don't know what you're talking about. Slockets?
Exactly.
What is this?
Let's see.
I
300
actually-
millimeter wafer, AMD dual core 45 nanometer Geneva, 2009. Wiki. So
I
it's
actually,
all wafer.
Jeremy, I actually never had a slotted socket processor.
We went through a gen at work. I'd never
Yeah.
bought one myself.
My roommate got one, and I saw how much trouble he had with it, and I was like, nope.
Wait a minute. Or is it these?
What? Oh. Yeah, he did put 2 wafers in there, didn't he?
One of us did.
What happens if you put that in Josh's Laserdisc player?
What
got-
if?
We got double-sided wafers, like double-sided records.
So Geneva was the Athlon 2 Neo and the Turion 2 Neo.
I've got
yeah.
a working K62 Plus in my basement. It's on
Why?
an EPAC.
Working? What is it doing?
MVP3 motherboard.
That's the different one.
Those
The
And it's got a-
K62
those are the.
still
think that one's like
just
an-
keeps on trucking, doesn't it?
Saying this is not the AMD?
I believe that's not the.
You think these ain't like those are tiny?
I remember
Yeah,
cooking my
you're right.
K62 multiple times, and it still came back. That was the first processor I actually tried to overclock, and I burnt the crap out of it. But every time it came back,
Pencil trick.
yep.
I had one of those.
Weren't they indestructible?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Just throw more voltage at it; it'll be fine.
I think it was, I mean, I was messing around with those, and then, like, once the Intel Core stuff started coming out, then it was just like,
Well, yeah, I mean, AMD was the hot shit when NetBurst was, the best Intel
Yeah.
had.
yeah.
I mean,
I think I put, like, an Opteron box together once, and
yeah. Weren't didn't the Opterons come out and they were just amazingly fast compared to everything else at the time?
at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my
Don't
gosh,
last long,
it's-
but
Yeah, because that's when Intel backpedaled and went to the Core architecture, wasn't it? With the
Well, when the Core stuff came out, then I think they were giving the Opteron stuff a run for their money at that
Yeah.
point. Or the Core 2 stuff might have been.
Yeah, because Core 1 was basically just a Pentium Pro rebadge.
Yeah,
wasn't
Core was just like, eh. The Core 2 stuff came out, and that started when Intel started gaining ground again.
it? Hey guys, we have to revert back in 4 years.
Yeah. Like we chose poorly.
I think this is the Thunderbird 1400.
It
Yeah.
looks like
It was like seriously the hottest damn
Those things,
AMD chip
Yeah.
those are the
for
ones.
quite some time.
Those are the ones where the die would crack.
Is there a chunk out of the corner of that one, Josh?
Yeah, I
Oh
was
yeah,
gonna
if you
ask.
were not careful
No,
putting
no,
your
it's
damn
not.
heatsink
It's
on that.
just let me clean it up a little.
Oh, okay. It looked like it had a chunk out of the corner.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Oh, it's the 1400, which was not overly fast, but it was hot.
I think I got a 2600
before
from the next
the-
gen.
What was that? Thoroughbred was after Thunderbird.
Mm,
And Palomino?
Sounds right.
Yeah, they went horsey for a while.
Back in the days when the PSIs you were putting on your dies were insane.
Well,
Yeah, the K62500. That was so incredibly common,
Yeah, they were
and
cheap.
it just performed so terribly.
A62 with 3D now.
Yep. I went through
Yep.
2 K6-2, and I actually spent the money to get the K6-3. That was money just no.
Wasted.
Come on, K63 was kind of kick ass.
It was pretty kick-ass, but
I know it was money, and it didn't clock up that fast, and
yeah, I mean it was.
Yeah.
It was like why did I spend this money? I spent like
I don't know why did you spend that money.
I don't know. I was young and stupid.
Yeah, even though the Woot Doctor said the 1400 was only 72 watts, but at that time, 72 watts was the highest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think it was in between 35 and 50 watts is pretty.
Shit, that's still
Calm.
pretty high.
And 72
Yeah.
watts with no heat spreader.
Yeah,
You know,
It
you better
was-
make sure you
and I
put
mean,
your
if you
thermal
splurge,
compound
you
on
get a
properly.
60 mil fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna get a 50 Delta black.
Oh,
Ooh.
you can still hear that quietly in the night.
Wasn't that, what was the other one? The Golden Orb.
The Gorb.
Yep.
Golden Orb.
Oh.
An amazing
Fun
core.
times.
Back in the heyday of
Well,
PC.
hey, no one's brought up lapping yet.
I never did that.
Yeah, that was.
I
I
did it a
convinced this
couple.
guy to try to do a wet lap with honing oil, and so he literally spent an hour
Yeah.
trying to lap with honing oil. It didn't make a scratch. I still remind him of that every once in a
On
while.
a
He
water
gets pissed
table
off.
for a reason.
He's like, well, how do you wet lap? It's like, well, go get some honing oil.
Damn it, Josh.
You told him?
Oh, I dropped it over there again. Just a second, we pry it out of the wall.
No, he was just trying to do it with the sandpaper and lapping, and he's like, nothing's happening.
Just keep going, man. It takes a while.
Yeah, it's gonna get real smooth soon.
Just break out
Real
the belt
smooth.
sander.
No,
Wow.
you would totally use a random orbital for that. No, you don't use a belt sander.
Oh, for sure. Not a mirror finish. I don't understand why.
And now it runs half a degree cooler.
There was that.
4 hours of random buffing later, and it drops half a degree. All right. Well,
Time
It looks so damn cool.
it looks pretty.
Oh well. Well,
All right.
I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, we
But,
need to.
Yeah, I
thanks,
think
guys.
that's a good way to end.
We'll end on the high note and
Yeah.
call it good.
All right.
All right, you
See you
gentlemen
guys.
have a good one.
Yep.
Good night.
See you,
Have a good
everybody.
week.